Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him. And today, in the afternoon of my time at least, we are running the first of a short series of sessions of the cluster. Now, the cluster is my ungodly hacking together of bits of some games that I really like. And those games are Uncharted World by Sean Gomes, Starforged by Shawn Tomkin, and Rust Hulks by Sam Sorensen. And there's a bit of an old fate game, quite an old fate game called Diaspora in here in terms of the setting. Um, uh, this is a game in which we are going to be creating a cluster of 7 systems, and then we are going to adventure in that setting. It's very much a kind of group of characters trying to get by in a difficult world with limited scope. So they will begin scraping by on a reconditioned ship that they are trying to make a living on and try to keep flying. And we'll see where it goes. I suppose touchstones, if I was looking for them, would be a technology no better, I suppose, in most cases, than the Expanse. And a kind of feel that's a bit Firefly, perhaps. This game is organized as part of the Open Hearth gaming community monthly calendar. If you don't know about the Open Hearth, please search Open Hearth and come play with us. And we will be playing, therefore, within the Open Hearth community guidelines. We think that our code of conduct is sharp and creates an environment where people can have a good time with relative strangers. I mean, I happen to know both all these three players. We've played together quite a few times, and so I know that they won't need the code of conduct. But I sometimes summarize it as "Don't be a dick." We are playing with some layered safety tools. We're playing with lines and veils, and I would ask the players just to check out the safety and links tab in the character keeper. I've got some starting ones, and some other people I think have started putting some in. We will be playing with the X card. I don't need to explain the X card to these players because they know, but I would recommend if you don't know about the X card, just search X card. It's a really helpful tool for just pausing the game and allowing us as a group to clarify which way the direction of travel is going and whether that's something that we're content with. We're also playing with the open door. So, if this turns out not to be as much fun as we hope it is going to be, there is no requirement for people to stay and waste the rest of their afternoon or early morning in the case of Joe. I'm not quite sure what time zone Kay is in, but, and we'll use stars and wishes at the end to try and just as a debrief tool to just try to pick up what we particularly liked and what we would like to see less of. So that's my brief introduction. What I would like to do now is to invite each of the players to say hello. So in the order I can see you, Joe, do you want to say hello, tell us your pronouns, and just very briefly introduce us to the background of Jax Merrin?
Yeah. My name is Joe, he, him. I apologize for my bedhead, for those few people who will watch. Yeah, I'm playing Jax Merrin, who's sort of an investigator scoundrel. I think I'm going to lean all in on the trope of the sort of noir. My touchstone's going to be Miller from The Expanse a little bit. So yeah, and in keeping with that, the society culture is spacer. So some sort of, station type place like that versus a planet. So
Brilliant. Fine. That's all we need at this point. We'll create the cluster in a bit and then come back to look at backstory and how they integrate. Moving around, Sabine, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Nestor Green.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I am going to play Nestor Green, who is comes from a harsh planet. I have some ideas about that. And who is a daredevil soldier. I think maybe if we talk touchstones, probably Jane from Firefly, but maybe less. The actor is less of a dick. Let's say it like that. I hope. I'm
oh, fingers
actor,
crossed.
so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And Jay, what about you? Say hello, tell us your pronouns, and introduce us to Deacon Gallant.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kay. I use the she, they pronouns, and I'll be playing Deacon Gallant, who uses he, him pronouns. He comes from an authoritarian society. And, well, I guess technically the career title is hustler, but I think if you were to ask Deacon, he might consider it more something like a doer or a go-getter or an eager beaver kind of vibe. And a fixer is correct. Not sure what connotations you have from where you're from, but he helps people.
Yeah, yes, we'll see how that plays. Because I've seen the picture. That is a sinister looking guy. Um,
Oh, he's a
maybe,
helpful
maybe I'm
member.
just seeing the uniform. Okay, so these are in outline our three characters. What we're going to do now is we're going to try and place them in the cluster. So you might want to look players at the cluster tab, and if you go all the way down to the bottom, uh, you will see that these seven systems are connected by a series of ring gates. So where you see a line connecting those planets, those systems, a ring gate exists between those locations, or a ring gate exists that can access one or more of those locations. So if I begin with trying to allocate you, do we have anyone who is harsh? Yes, so harsh. Yes, so Nestor comes from a planet in a system which has the fewest links to the center of the system, which is invariably called hub. So I think that puts you all the way over on the left-hand side.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Yes, that's my home world.
So if you want to put Nestor in there right at the top line,
Oh, okay. Yes.
yeah, where it says home world of, and then give it a system name and a home or main world name. And the main world culture I can select is harsh. Okay, who else we got? We got a spacer can go anywhere. The authoritarian can go anywhere. So let me go to K. How well connected to the hub system do you want your system to be?
I think
Because
it's like a solid medium. Like they have good footing, but there is still work to be done.
well, what about all the way at the other end of the cluster? Because it's laid out as a straight line.
Yeah.
Though the locations of these in space are almost irrelevant. They're potentially hundreds of light years apart. Um, Over there in System F, what about over there? Does that
I
suit? That
think,
would give you two connections to
yeah,
hub.
I'd say it gives me two connections to hub, which I think sounds great. Yeah, I would do either F or B. I think either has well actually B has three. Oh my goodness. So you know what? Yeah, no, let's go F because F has two because it's not fully there, but it's done a good job.
Okay, and finally, our spacer. Uh, you can go anywhere. How well connected do you want to be to hub?
Um, let's see. I was thinking, uh, I was kind of thinking, did did somebody already took F, right?
Yeah,
I was
so A and F are out the picture. You've got a couple
If
of
you want F, I'll
no,
switch. I'm
no,
okay to
no,
do that.
no. That's all good. That's all good. Um, uh, I kind of. How about B?
B. Yeah,
Yeah.
well connected. Maybe the economy is roaring. I'll put the spacer culture in there, and then if all of you can add your names to row two, where it says homeworld of, that'll allow me to start connecting your character to those places. We've got a fourth player who'll be joining us next time. So one of these systems is gonna fall out of that. And that's interesting, isn't it? That's done that, but why hasn't that done that? There should be something filling in. Never mind. Never mind. We'll worry about that later. What I want to do then is to go down to system, local tech, and socioeconomic data. There are a number of choices to be made. Let me start this time with Joe. Joe, your spacer. Um, your system choices, if you go to where is it, row 15, 16 of Jax's system, you'll find a number of choices in the drop down there. You can select any of them from 4 to 7. There are, I think, 7 numbered choices on each one of these, and you can select 4 to 7.
So I guess I was thinking in terms of a group of sort of like large asteroids that is where that has like colony type stuff on them. Um, in thinking that, does actually I'm going to choose number 4.
Okay.
Maybe one of them is very like well populated and nice, and then there's other ones that are just like more industrial or kind of I imagine it's a cluster within the cluster, right? It's a series of
I mean, this is this is a way to describe the system, and where you place your society in that system is up to you. Let's move next to K. K. Where do you think Deacon? What system makeup have we got for him now? For the other authoritarian, you can go from 2 to 7. Preferably a different one, because it'd be nice if every system was different, it must be said.
It's 2. We've got the garden, and we have so many potential gardens.
Oh, one garden and several potential garden worlds, yeah. And once the system is fully established across the system, then everything will be fine.
Oh, everything will be wonderful.
And lastly, Nestor, what kind of option are you choosing? Because yours is, I think, pretty harsh. 6 or 7?
Yes, I've already chosen 6.
6?
And for local tech, do I also have to choose 6
No,
or 7?
not yet. I'm going to come round to you in a bit.
Okay,
One survivable and several lethal worlds.
Yeah, well,
wow, it's tough.
yeah.
That's why it's harsh.
Yeah.
This time I am going to start with you and ask you about your local tech level.
No, I've been thinking that the world is not just harsh because it's harsh, it's also harsh because of capitalism. So the tech is pretty good, but it's just
Sadly, with harsh, you've got a choice of 6 or 7.
Okay, cool.
It's harsh.
It's harsh, yeah. I mean, okay, I thought that might actually be harsh because it's harsh for the people that Nestor comes from.
Different harsh.
Yeah.
Different
Maybe.
harsh.
Yeah.
So
That's
we're
fine.
looking, I mean, industrial steam power, steel and telegraphy. This is vaguely the Wild West, I guess, in terms of its technology levels. That's local tech, not, so Nestor has access to stuff beyond that.
Okay.
Let me go to K next. What about the local technology for our authoritarians? This is anywhere between 3 and 5.
Between 3 and 5. Yeah, I think it's going to go 3. Fission, computer control satellites, and inner system exploration. They are expanding.
Fine. And last but not least, what about Jax? What's the spacer culture? Now you can go from 3 to 6.
3 to 6. Well, um,
6 is in use, and so is 3.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go 4.
4. Fission, computer control, satellites, and orbital habitats. I mean, does that fit with the idea of a garden world and a separate spacer culture?
Well, I'm kind of thinking that these are highly corporatized, like that these were all highly they were originally funded, controlled by large corporations, mega corporations. So there's probably going to be garden for some, and not so much for most.
Okay.
So,
Well, look, I mean, does this mean that the the better class of person live on the planet, and you live in orbit.
I was thinking, well, maybe
Everyone's orbital.
everybody's orbital, but one of them, like I imagine, like there's a one of the orbitals, like the asteroids, is highly uh um, it's very very nice,
I'm
right? Like
thinking Elysium here, if we
yeah,
know that film.
yeah.
I guess my question is, if you've got a garden world, why would they live in orbit?
Well, then that's what's my question is should I have switched it to only asteroids and other rocks? Is that the
Or hostile and barely survivable? I don't know. But the logic of that kind of cultural
yeah,
split.
yeah.
I
I think
kind of like I have a suggestion for the split that makes it make sense. It's real world dystopian. I know uh two of you are from the UK or from outside the US, but Joseph, I don't know how familiar you are with Disney World in Florida, where it is literally like its own state, and you have the area of actual Disney World, this wonderful, fantastical place, and then nearby you have, and even as part of it, you have luxury homes of people that are just wealthy or fans, but then like there are essentially, for lack of a better word, uh, a town or two over that are ghettos that are the people who work to make the happy garden place function, but cannot actually live a good life because they do not get a livable wage.
I get that. I'm struggling to see that how we connect it to a spacer culture. What are you thinking, Joe?
Fair.
um so if it's okay, I'm gonna switch my system to only asteroids and rocks because that's kind of was my original. And then
The orbital habitats work because that just we can put that into habitats on a rock, in
mhm,
a rock, orbiting a rock, floating around
right.
in there. That I don't think that's a problem, unless you want to change that as well.
No, no. And
No?
so yeah, no. And then I mean,
What does that
I
do for
think
your socioeconomic? Because I think you have an option of 3 to 6 for socioeconomic.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go 5.
Okay, just about enough to go around, but relies on key imports. Considerable inequality. Fine. What about? I've lost track of where Nestor is. Oh, that's where Nestor is. There we go. Okay, Nestor.
Yeah.
Socioeconomic for the harsh is pretty limited. 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think that I want the 6. Numerous needs need me barely enough to go around, and widespread inequality and exploitation. I like exploitation.
I,
I mean,
yes.
I don't, but
No,
for the
no, no. I know
character,
what you
for the
mean.
character.
I know what you mean. As a setting, we need somewhere where there's some exploitation going on. And finally, Kay, what about Deacon socioeconomic? For the authoritarian, you can go anywhere from 2 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no overlap possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm gonna click a couple just because I can't get them to fully populate the full
Fine,
answer.
do.
Let me just read those first.
We've got wealthy elites have first call on numerous surpluses. There are needs largely balanced by exports. We have surpluses generally outweigh needs, but neither are evenly spread. And we have broadly sustainable, enough to go around, but doesn't mean it's evenly spread.
I think surplus generally outweighs needs, but neither are evenly spread.
Fine. Because, why have an authoritarian regime if there are not advantages of being at the top of that authoritarian regime?
Exactly.
Okay, so this has thrown up some homeworld questions. Let's start this time. I don't think I started with Nestor last time, so let's start with Nestor this time. Was your culture racked by war, famine, bloody barbarism, or something else?
I think it was worked by capitalism, basically.
Okay, so
Like,
answer your homeworld question.
yes, I think I already have. Is that
Oh,
my character
right.
thing,
Okay, I'll
right?
copy it across. That's fine.
Okay, okay. Oh, I was supposed. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's just so it needs to be in both places in a way, because
Yes,
then
yes, I
I
understand
should
that.
I should establish a link.
Yeah, I thought I messed the link up. So,
No, I don't think you
but
have.
cool.
Jax, were you brought up in an orbital, deep space station or asteroid, or on ships?
The deep space station sort of asteroid.
Fine. And it looks like Kay, it looks like you've gone for the regime was political and religious.
Yeah, I think it was a hybridization of both.
Fine. Yeah. Oh, well, that offers all sorts of interesting stuff about the people at the
Also,
top of that organization. Uh, right. Spot
Side note,
on.
just to check in because we've looked at safety, but we haven't talked about it too
We
much.
haven't.
I am painting a what I would consider a very specific picture, or at least being very open about it. If anyone has any issues with that, like please say something. Because I know that this is like touching on some very real world stuff and or things that might make people uncomfortable. So I know we've looked at things and we've kept an eye, but uh religious political regime is kind of, especially depending on where you are, it could be touchy. So I just wanted to make sure everyone's okay so far.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine by me. But if anybody wants, because I notice you, I'm not, I have to make some assumptions about who's put what in here. But I'm noticing at the moment we have interest in cults, stalking, and classism. Now, if that is interesting to someone, that can be trumped by ask first or a veil or a line. Yeah. So it's always down to the we want to satisfy most of the people most of the time. Um, and I had a question about uh, trapped in elevator or and this is I don't want to I'm not interested in who's put it in there, but I'm going to put this on the table and then I'm open to view. Trapped in an elevator or plane, crashing in elevator or plane. How do we how do we feel about starships in difficulties? Because
Uh,
is that
so
a
I'm
is that a plane adjacent concern?
I'm gonna own up to this. This is mine. I have no issue saying that. No, as long as it's just not like a typical commercial like flyer plane, I think we'll be good. I think if maybe if this ship was described as like a passenger plane, like then maybe that might be a little bit on the line. But for the most part, as long as it's not something traditionally planey, which I didn't think would be an issue.
No, I don't
Uh,
think it will. We'll keep you out of terrestrially based planes, but we'll still have a bit of jeopardy around the spaceship.
yeah, space is a whole different thing that IK will never touch, so it's all good.
Um, Different planets. We want to travel about a bit. That's interesting. I got a line on cannibalism. That's always an
oops.
interesting one to have when you have a harsh setting. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
but we don't have to resort to cannibalism.
no,
It's not
exactly not.
that
Exactly
harsh. It's not that
that harsh.
harsh. Or if
It,
we have, we won't see it.
yeah, no, I've just had someone go the other way with harsh and be interested in it, which somebody
Yeah.
else then mind. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
Infection plays to make a
Understandable.
plot point. Yeah, the pandemic's still a bit close to me. Um, and just check out the ones that I think I put in the ones at the top there with lines on torture, harm to children, peril to pregnant women and infants, consensual sex, domestic violence. If anyone wants to up those to lines, that's fine by me. And likewise, I've put a general ask first on romance, either with or between PCs and NPCs. Uh,
Oh, go for it.
yeah, so if you want to tinker with those folks, go ahead.
I always ask, because I feel like it's different depending on every game you do. What are we considering children? Like, are we
Yeah,
considering,
sorry, yeah, children, not youths.
yeah, children, not youth? So are we saying 12 and under? Are we saying
I
like,
I, I kind of go 13, 14.
okay, yeah, like, so
You
like
know,
13,
proper
14 and under.
teenagers are, well, it sounds terrible to say proper teenagers are fair game, but you know what I mean?
But yeah, exactly. Like, that's something I just like to check in on harm to children because it's very different in, say, a game of sleepaway versus a game
Yeah.
of, something like this. So, uh, 14 and under. I'm just gonna add that
Oh,
in
right.
there.
I've just put not teens in.
Oh, or not teens. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go on. There you go. Fine.
We're teenagers. Sorry.
Especially, I feel like in a harsh society,
Yeah.
you may have to grow up a little early
Yeah.
Yeah, fair,
and things
fair.
like that.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
that's also only if people are okay with that. Like Sabine, if you want 18 and up, like
No, I don't mind
okay.
teens being in danger.
Okay. Um, it doesn't come up often, is the truth, but you never know. And that's what this is all about, isn't it? That's why we have these safeties. Interested in a heist, interested in drug and alcohol abuse, interested in different planets, and we've got cults stalking. That could be a tricky one. I don't quite know how one would operationalize that in the game, but we see how it go. Classism seems to be would fit with several of these cultures. So again, we'll adjust these with across time as well. And if something comes up, that's what the X card is for. Yeah. So with all that in mind, so we have broadly got our culture, our setting beginning to be fleshed out. Um, uh, we probably need some system names or home or main world or space station in the case of Jax, Joe. We probably need a name up there at the top for system and then some description of the place within that system where you come, from which you come. And then we can start talking about places as well as people.
Where are we supposed to put in any kind of description? I'm sorry.
Physical description.
Yeah.
I'll come to that in the end because
Oh,
the way down the
okay.
bottom, there's
Okay.
there's something called touchstones and locations, just to help us visualize.
Okay. Yes.
But sometimes it's easy to leave that till last, that you've got the fully fleshed to pin down as something if you want to. Because what I'd like to talk about now are the factions across the cluster. Now, each of you gets to create a faction associated with your homeworld. That may or may not be the government type. It could be other things. We'll find out in a moment. But before we do that, I think it's important to know what the cluster government is like. Because if you look at Hub, the faction that is significant in Hub is the Ringgate Authority. Because Hub was the first planet to rediscover the way that the ring gates worked and were the hub of expansion, rediscovery across the cluster. So it's a government. It is across the cluster. What I suppose I'm interested in is what kind of government is it? And if you hit the faction detail, you'll see that there are a range of different kinds of government there. And also, if you look at the visibility and reputation, there are some. Now, clearly, it's going to be widely visible, but I'm interested in what its reputation is. So, anyone got strong feelings about the kind of government this is? And the options for our listeners are individualist anarchic. Not sure that works for something that operates across 7 systems. Authoritarian dictatorship. Well, we've got one authoritarian environment. Whether you want another one's an interesting question. We've got oligarchic elite, dynastic lineage, or prophesied leader. So, anyone got any strong views? Let me come to Kay first.
I think the last trio intrigues me the most. I think, like you said, we have authoritarians. I think we have a lot of the other stuff. I think one of the last three, either be it destined by blood or by, divine intervention, or oligarchs. I think either three of those could work very well for keeping
Okay.
the free systems as things that make sense.
Okay. Sabine, how do those 3 seem to you? And would you have a preference for one of them?
Let me check these. And the 3 options were oligarchic,
I think oligarchic,
elite.
dynastic, prophesied. There's always elected representatives. We wanted to go slightly vanilla, but
I mean, I like the prophesized leader, actually.
yeah. Okay.
Let's see. That could be fun.
Let's stick with the prophesied leader of the Ringate Authority. Joe, do you have any thoughts about which variety? Because the Ringate Authority is well known across the culture, so it's going to be widely visible. But do you think it's admired, respected, or feared?
How about what it should be or what it is?
What it is. This is the man on the on Haven's Landing omnibus.
If it's just the person on the street, let's say I'm going to suggest respected.
Okay. Anyone got a problem with the Ringate Authority being respected?
No.
Okay. So prophesied leader. There we go. And reputation is respected. Okay, there we go. Right. Now then, what about the ones related to your homeworlds? Now, faction type, it can be a system or local government. That's government type. It can be a specialist organization, which tend to be, you can see once you get into faction detail, you can see what types there are. Sorry, I'm clicking the wrong one there. Or it can be a fringe group. So have a look at the options, and then I'll come round to you to see what are you interested in. Because the faction detail is tied to the faction type. So if you choose a specialist organization, you need to be looking at the section of the faction detail that relates to specialist organization. Yeah, so I see Nestor, fringe group, faction detail. There are, I think, 6 fringe group varieties down there, which are deliberately slightly vaguely phrased.
I'm still clicking around.
Oh, yeah. I'm just using you to illustrate.
Yeah, okay. No, I think I like the organized crime.
Okay.
Faction reach.
I'll come to reach and stuff in a minute. If you just turn that faction type into fringe, that would make some sense then for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. What are we thinking? Jax, what about you? Are you going fringe as well? Or are you just having a click about?
I'm still clicking about a little, but I'm kind of thinking about fringe and
yeah, I mean, with hindsight, what I should have done was just to have, go to faction detail and choose one you like. I don't know quite now why I bothered with faction type.
Yeah, let's stick with the smugglers and fixers.
Okay. Yeah, I think faction type has become redundant in this particular version. Never mind. Then the question is about their reach, because there's reach and visibility reputation. So, what is the reach of these organizations? And feel free to start naming them if you're interested. There's at the top there's a slot for you to name these groups. And basically, faction reach is how well known are they across the system? So is it across the planet or, local environment? Is it across the entire system? Is it across the system and those that are linked to it by ring gates? Or is it across the entire cluster? Choice is yours.
So I have a question. I'm looking at the visibility and reputation. I feel like they're pretty visible, but at the same time, I feel like it really like it's almost individualistic who you ask whether they are admired, respected, or feared.
Yeah, we need a generalized because I need to know how the man on the street, and I don't really want to have it on an individual basis. I want a default setting of how NPCs think about these organizations. Because yeah, you're right. People will have different views.
You say man on the street, do you mean within our system or within the
across the cluster.
Okay, because I think that's where it differs, like the way that people on the planet see it
Uh,
versus the way people.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are crude hooks for me to hang interactions and starting positions for every season. And the idea of visibility is, are there outstations across, do they have offices across the cluster or across the reach they have? Um, if this was a trade association, would they have representation on every planet, every system, some systems, uh, or are they pretty much limited to the system? So far, it looks like there's a tendency to cross-linked systems. Uh, the Snagg family, rumored
Yeah,
and feared.
yeah, they're criminals. They want to get. I would imagine that they want to get their fingers into all kinds of pots. Um, because I mean, Snag is not that nice, so they wanna have influence somewhere else. They want
That's
to
fine.
do.
I like that. Um, and then a smugglers group that is rumored and respected. That's interesting. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out in practice. Um, and yeah, we're beginning to get some names. So we got Galiel, who are that is presumably the regime title or the person at the top of the regime or the founder of the regime. Kay, what are you thinking?
I think it's like the thing we theoretically believe in, or the person, or the mythology of the basis of our system was via Galiel.
Fine, fine. I mean, that makes me think that perhaps yours was one of the systems that was rediscovered. You survived the kind of interregnum when the Ringgate system collapsed. But maybe whatever it was that Galiel did to help the culture survive has become legend and myth. I don't know, but I like the idea that you've got stuff to work with there. Um, and the other thing that I'm interested in, you'll find faction action and faction object. This again is incredibly, and my thanks to Shawn Tomkin here, that I've lifted quite a lot of these ideas from some of the random tables in Starforged. So current action, current object. What are they doing, and what are they doing it to, for, or with?
Mhm.
Because that again offers me some potential hooks into why they might be interested in you three. Don't worry about faction detail. We'll fill that in play. Create threat.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have much, and
They're
yeah,
gonna get more.
yeah, they want more. They want more. They want more. Their planet is not that great, and the people that work for them, they're also not that great. I mean, you can sell them, but that's about it. We don't rely on slavery, right? Or something
I
like
don't
that.
think so. No, no,
Hmm.
Or indentured servitude or
Nope.
whatever euphemism
nothing
you
there
want to
so
use.
far.
Okay,
Nothing there
cool,
so far.
cool, cool. Because that's what I would like to go with.
It's the logical extension of classism, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I mean, it's not called slavery, right? It's only called slavery if it's from the slave region of France, and this is not France.
This is just sparkling indentured.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Brilliant. Okay. So where are we at? Our cluster
Ooh.
is pretty much getting there. Again, we can, tinker with the details, folks, in play. Just, these are starting points. If it turns out that it doesn't quite end up fitting with what you've got in mind, then, we can change it. Um, and I'm not going to flesh out any of the other systems. I'm going to stick to these four. Hub, uh, Galiel's plantings. Oh, lovely. Um, and whatever the system name we have for Nestor and Jax home
Oh, the
systems.
system is named Splendiferous System.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead. You bang it in.
That is, I have written it in, I think. Haven't I? I thought I had.
If you didn't hit return, it may have gone away again.
It's down in line 56, Splendiferous System.
Oh, sorry. Yes. No, you need to put it up there at the top of where it says Homeworld of Nestor, system name, main world name. It's all up at the top of the sheet.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Those, I don't know what was in that line, but those are meant to then just link the other names across.
Okay, I
So
probably overwrote everything.
I think you have.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, no, you're all right. It just says is connected to. There we go. And then the names you put in the top should pop into the ring-gate connections.
Well, no, everything is connected to the Iron Wreath. Iron
Yeah,
Wreath.
well, that's right, because you're
Okay.
only connected to Jax's homeworld.
Oh,
the
okay,
Iron Wreath.
that's
You with
fair.
me?
Yes.
So
Sorry.
Splendiferous is connected to the Iron Wreath.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go. I think that makes some sense. And the rest of those letters will fill in when we've named the others once Will is at the table. So, with all that in mind, what I'm wondering is if we take a break until on the hour, it's 54 minutes past the hour now. I'm going to suggest we take a short break now, then we come back, flesh out backstories, and make a couple of adjustments to the ship, and then we'll start playing. Yeah, but I do want you to think about: are we on the ship? Are we in a settlement somewhere? And which of these four locations that we currently have fleshed out? Which system are we in? And are we heading out of the system? Are we arriving into the system? Or are we doing a job in the system? Okay, so give a bit of thought to that. And I will see you on the hour. Is that long enough for our first break?
Yes.
Sounds good.
I'll see you then. Okay, let me go then from left to right. I want to start with your kind of careers. Now, these are careers that you have experience of. That's where you got the skill set. They needn't be what you're currently embarked upon. So I'm going to go left to right to start off with. So Kay, I'm interested in Deacon Gallant. Is Deacon his name or his rank?
I haven't decided yet.
That's good enough for me. Um, so the kind of questions that go with the hustler background, you see your presence, wit, charm, or beauty to get people to do what you want and enjoy the thrill of their attention when you get it. Did you work for the media, politician, some other kind of leader, or did you take advantage of people for gain? Where on that
I think
fleshed out?
it's definitely the former.
Okay.
I don't see a details section
No,
under.
because I'm going to put that together because you may want to link the
Okay.
two careers.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Oh, okay, together. That's fair.
yeah.
I think where he was right before he left to go on this ship was he had gotten himself to a position where he was working under a titled leader.
Okay,
Um,
that's great.
and I think, and of course, the ends always justify the means.
Okay, and do you want to connect that to this fixer? Life is about profit and loss, and Profit or loss could be philosophical as much or political as much as cash, I guess. Um, Describe yourself as trader, entrepreneur, or broker, or did you look at profit and loss in terms of the bounty offered and the risk it entailed? Were there things you wouldn't trade in or profits you couldn't stomach?
There is nothing he could not stomach. He believes in his regime, and I think he would describe himself as a shepherd.
Okay. Bringing lost sheep to Galiel's and an understanding of Galiel. I go with that. Okay. Well, if you want to put a couple of sentences or phrases down there under details, just so we can begin to flesh that out. I've scribbled a few things down
Yeah.
here, but you might want to put them in there. With any luck, row 69 should expand as you write in it. Who knows? Let me go along to Nestor. Nestor, Daredevil, you have complete, sometimes too much confidence in your capabilities, your mobility, agility, skill, and ability to accurately judge risk, and some background in soldiery. In a violent world, there are things worth fighting for. That's what you've trained to do. So, were your skills honed working for yourself as an explorer, stunt performer, corporate, military? What drives you to take risks and what can't you resist? And does that link into your soldiering?
Maybe. I think I've always been kind of a daredevil because where I grew up in the Creche, you had to stand out. Because if you had wanted any chance to be anything other but a drone for the Snagg family, you had to stand out. You had to get chosen by the military, basically. So stand out, you take risks. It's fun, kind of.
Right. I mean, the Creche has to be mentioned in that details because I think that's a really interesting
Yes.
place to explore,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
So would you say there's anything particularly that drives you to take risks? Things you can't resist? Is it
I
competition?
it's it's just a thrill, right? I mean,
Fine.
it's a competition, yeah, but mostly it's like, yeah, okay, I have confidence. I don't see it as like overconfident. I'm not overconfident. I know what I
Yeah,
can do. It's
risk. What
fine.
risk?
It's fine. What risk, right? I mean, this is fine. I've got it under control.
Did you take up arms as a soldier for honor or freedom or because you had no choice? I think I know or did you just enjoy the opportunities for violence? I think I know some of what might be at the back of
Yeah.
that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to get out. I wanted to get out and being chosen by the military. That was the thing. There was I think probably mercenary companies who come there every few times. Damn words. Anyway, they've had to deal with the Snagg family, right? They take the best soldier material, kids, and the rest. I mean, they can just work their toes off or whatever in the system. So yeah,
Okay.
that's why I went for a soldier, and it's not I don't particularly like killing people. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, you're answering my question. Did you ever draw a line in the sand over an order they gave you?
probably because I'm not with the mercenaries anymore, right? So yeah, I did draw a line at shooting up people who can't shoot back. Where's the fun in that, basically? And
And
also, I
I
just
will
don't like that.
I will come back to see if we tie
Yes.
that into why you left, because I
Yeah.
think you've already had some thoughts about that.
Yeah.
So again, details here, just bang some of that down so we don't lose that rich background. Jax, what about Jax? Investigator scoundrel. Did you pick up your particular set of skills in espionage, law enforcement, activism, or criminality? What's the secret about you that you'd want to keep hidden? And trader or smuggler, thief or freedom fighter, where did you learn how to do what you do? Where did you draw the line in terms of the work you do or the people you'd work for? Or didn't you? What are you thinking?
So like I said before, I kind of want to lean into the kind of the noir trope. So I like the idea that originally they were I think that the hub has had sort of like a nominal security group on these, but really the corporations were kind of in charge, right? Kind of, and that he was an investigator. He was part of that group, and they, but he was always trying to do, um, he was always riding the line of the right and wrong, right? Like a classic scoundrel. He has his own definitions of right and wrong, and so I think he worked with this group called the Horizon, which are these smugglers and fixers, because I think the corporations just crush the standard people for profit on these outposts like this. And I think the secret that he'd want to keep hidden is that he really did do all of the stuff he was accused of.
I mean, was the stuff he accused of is that why he was? Because what I'm seeing here is kind of the Ringate Authority pay local corps for law enforcement or any other kind of local facilities, services, and that the line between the law and what the smugglers, the Horizon, were doing is a grey one for Jax, maybe. So did his employers find out what he was doing? Is that why he left, or is this still something that might come to light?
Yeah, I think he left because like if you go down to the hook that I'm gonna lean into is around grief, and like he had a partner who he let get killed to protect the relationship that he had with the Horizon.
Fine. Well, let's go down to that then, and I'll go back the other way across the keeper
Can I
for.
ask a quick
Oh yeah,
question?
sure.
So partner has many terms. Was this like your police partner, or was this?
We'll flesh that one out now.
Oh, okay.
So, what terrible cost did the void exact on someone so you could survive? Who were they? And by definition, what were they?
Yeah, so they were like their like police partner, like their and friend, right? I think they were genuinely friends, but I think there was a situation where they were uh um something to do with the Horizon, some sort of like job, and I think his partner was not in on that stuff. I think it was, again, classic tropes, right? And so I think that his partner um, got in the way, and instead of protecting his partner, he let his partner, you know, get killed.
I'm seeing a flashback scene here where the partner is inside an airlock.
Yeah,
Uh, there are some Horizon folks outside the airlock, and maybe, just visible, observing events is Jax. And there's that moment when their eyes connect, and then
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's spot on.
brilliant.
I
I
couldn't have
like.
said it better myself.
Well, I love that, and that would explain the whole burden of grief over the loss of we know which individual. But I am interested then in you thinking about who wants you to pay.
Yeah, so I think the
Oh,
partner's name was Soren, and he has a sister that was always suspicious of Jax and is essentially hunting him.
fine. Okay, let's move along to Nestor. What terrible thing did you have to do to survive? Who do you owe for your escape?
I think the terrible thing I had to do is to survive was basically to compete in that to be in that competition with my crush mates. So I mean, I left them in the dust basically. I mean, Nestor Red, she stabbed me. I liked her. She stabbed me. Okay, fine. I left her in the dust. I mean, she's not dead. I just was faster and stronger and better. So
So, do you think that you owe her for your escape
No.
from the Creche?
No,
Or
I
is
think I owe them mercs. Maybe the mercs might think that I owe them. I don't think so.
no, well, yeah, but it's debt is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
Yeah, the mercs, they think that I owe them for getting me out of there. I
Fine.
think maybe also the other Nestors might think I owe them for getting away and now having a better life, and so I should maybe do something for them. But I mean, come on, if they were good enough to get out of there, they would have, right?
Okay, well, just put something in that box
Yeah.
that summarizes that, because I think you witness something terrible,
Yeah.
and that's where we get into
Mhm.
the Snags setting your mercenary unit on terrorists who turned out not to be that.
Mhm.
Okay. Finally, Deacon Gallant. Um, which friends or family did you betray for the regime? What cost did they pay for your betrayal?
Yeah. So I think it was my parents. Um, and I don't know because that's not of my concern or
Oh,
of my
wow. So
of
just
my
disappeared.
yeah, I'm not of a level of authority where I needed to know that information. They did something wrong. I reported in.
Yes, right. Okay, so you reported them.
Yes, I reported them.
Okay.
Uh,
How old were you when you reported them?
let's go. Let's go like if we're okay with this, like 12, like 11, 12.
Wow. Yeah. That's very much the Stasi, isn't it? Sorry, that might be a sensitive issue, Sabine. I apologize. Um, but the idea of families being betrayed by families. Is everybody okay with that age?
Yeah, is everyone okay with that?
Yeah,
Fine.
sure.
And then they just disappeared from your life,
Hmm.
and you carried on as a member of, the Galiel Youth Association.
Probably, or I was taken in by a superior leader's family.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so that is a pretty terrible thing. And therefore, you are, though, still a believer. How does your belief manifest?
So that's what I'm struggling a little with how my belief manifests. I know I follow and speak the tenets of my society without any compunction of where I am now, which puts people at which kind of puts a crew a little at risk, I think. But I'm trying to think of like how this belief might manifest, and I'm not.
Well, I read between the lines on that. I think you're right. It's sometimes, the rest of the crew are saying, no, don't mention it here. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I suppose we can flesh out exactly what those beliefs are in play when you
Yeah,
think
I'd
it's
like, yeah.
interesting.
I think
Yeah.
we play to what's interesting and or, I will trust in you as like our overarching world controller GM to like if you want to put something and give it to me, be like, hey, this is something you believe in. I'm like, yeah, that's something I believe in. Uh, and yeah, I follow and speak the tenets of my society without any compunctions of where I am now or how other people might take it or I'm sure I also probably, for lack of a better word, evangelicize a little, which may not be taken so nicely in some other places when talking about the wonders of Galiel's plantings.
I think that might be the case. Yes, indeed. That's great. I mean, to be honest, folks, you've already given me far too much stuff for 4 sessions, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, so we've got a cluster, we've got character, we've got backstory, we got some drivers in play. I just want to look at the ship. Now, you will see at the bottom, right the way down the bottom of your character keeper on row 92,
Ooh.
there are things that influence the design of the ship, which are supposed to be related in some way to your previous career interests and skills. So if you are reading those, I will make the adjustments on the ship tab, and then we'll go and see what the consequences are. So let me start with Nestor. What does Nestor bring to the ship design stage of the game?
We add +1 to controls and +1 to sensors.
Okay.
And we need to split +3 between weapons and hull armor.
How do
So
you want to
maximum of
split that?
+2. Oh, I want a +2 in weapons and a +1 in armor. I mean, who needs armor anyway?
Of course you do. What about Deacon? Kay, how would the choices you've got down there, if there are any choices, I can't remember, influence the ship design?
So we get a +1 to hospitalities,
Of course, yes.
of course. And then I have a +2 to any of the ship's systems.
I tell you
Do
what, do you put that on the shelf then?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Because
take a look at the ship and yeah.
absolutely makes all the sense in the world. Finally, what about Jax?
+1 to security systems
Yeah, makes sense.
and +1 to bolt holes.
Yeah, okay. So, folks, if you want to go over to the ship and wealth tab, we can just have a look at what this looks like. Because the way that the ship works is when you want the ship to do stuff, you use one of the moves that are down there, and you get the add based on what you've just invested your points in. So at the minute we have controls +1. When you pull a stunt to get the ship to fly better than it has any right to, you'll roll +1. Sensors. Ships or phenomena appear on sensors at extreme range. When you investigate them, blah, +1. Weapon systems. You have both point defense turrets and a missile launcher because you are at +2. The only place to go is a mass driver. Security systems. This is if you want to try to contain a threat that somehow gets aboard the ship. Reactor and drive. Reactor is about pace. Can you outrun or catch up with things? And currently you have 0 in that. Drive is what you use to get from A to B. And this leads to, was that trip quick and painless? Did you find anything interesting? And what were the stakes or conditions when you did find something interesting? So you might want to fail at that. I don't know. Ship's locker is about equipment. Shuttle is about, is it just from orbit to planet or to station, or does it do anything else? Currently, it does nothing else. Hull plating, which is what armor has become. I've really got a typo to pick up. When the ship is at risk of harm, you roll plus plating. Shuttle bay is where the shuttle lives and where you keep your cargo. Bolt holes, when you try to conceal people and or things, then that's the conceal roll. Med bay, pretty self-explanatory at 0. Hospitality, you can run to a cheap meal and free drink when trying to get work or get paid. And then boarding systems is about how you get from one place in space to another. So you've got a remaining 2, and of course will bring something to this table next time. But at the minute we've got +2. So Kay, what are you feeling? Perhaps you have a lack in that you'd like to invest that in.
Yeah, so quick question. I just want to double check. It sounds like from the wording, I cannot split these two. It is just +2.
Oh, is it?
I want to double check. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Let me have a look. Add +2 to a maximum of +2. Oh no, right, to a max. So you can go 1 and 1 or 2 and 0.
Okay, 1 and 1.
It needs to be. It needs to be phrased the way the weapons and hull is for the harsh. Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I just wanted to check on that. I'm gonna throw. Let's see. That somehow almost makes it more difficult. Because now I have choices.
Well, where would you have put the 2? And then that's one choice made. You put a 1 in it and then think again.
That is true. I think I would have put the 2 in reactor. So I think let's put 1 in reactor.
Okay.
And then let's see. I'm gonna put 1. Can you explain like the ship's locker a little bit?
Yeah, I mean the idea is that you will have the gear that you declare. Okay. If you want to find something else that you can use, and there's a longer list of what you can use than what you can have, then there's an opportunity for you to roll plus ship's locker to see whether you can find it. And in its basic form, it's non-combat gear. So if there's a bit of non-combat gear in your list that currently you don't have access to, because you're not going to choose it as part of your 3, you could find it.
Okay. Um, interesting. You know what? I'm gonna add that other one to drive.
Okay, there we go. Fine. And again, we'll tinker with this if it doesn't suit the way the game is running. So, with all that in mind, then we have our ship. Of course, I have left an hour and a half to decide on the name of the ship.
That's clearly not enough.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say put some suggestions for the name of the ship into the chat, and we'll have a conversation before we finish on that, because I think we want to get on now because we have spent half our game creating characters, place setting, and ship. So I did warn you that I would ask you whether you wanted this to be. Are you in one of these systems we've defined? Are you already there doing something? If you are in a system doing something, are you in the ship or are you at a settlement, presumably the significant settlement? Or are you leaving to go somewhere else or arriving from somewhere else into one of these systems? So Jax, you're our spacer. What's your preference? In deep space in a system, or leaving a system to go somewhere else through a ring gate, or indeed arriving from a ring gate?
I don't have a strong preference, but I'm going to throw out there, let's say we're on the ship. I mean, do we need
Well,
to kind of...
I'm going to pin you down. On the ship is your choice. Now let me go to Deacon Gallant.
Taking that away from me.
Deacon Gallant, are you in a system doing a job, or are you heading out of a system through a ring gate, or just arriving into a system from the ring gate?
Let's play fast, loose cars. We're already on a job.
On a job. Fine. And the last choice, Nestor, is which system is this job in?
I mean, would it be too much if we were in Galiel's plantings and would that be okay with you, Kay?
Oh yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
Cool.
Galiel's plantings. Okay. And to remind us, Galiel's planting has one garden, several potential garden worlds. So my bit of this is I think you are en route to one of those potential garden worlds. Yeah?
Okay.
Because we're on the ship, so I don't want to land straight on Galiel's plantings. Okay, so you are en route to one of those potential garden worlds. And in terms of the job, cargo run, salvage, recovery, rescue, or an investigative job. Which one attracts? Is this Jax's investigative job? Is this Nestor sent to recover or rescue someone that might require force of arms? Or is this a cargo run that might enable Deacon to do a little bit of proselytizing on this potential garden world? Any offers? Does one of those really attract one of you? I've made it worse by pinning it down to the character, haven't I?
I still like that.
Yeah, honestly, I have a terrible suggestion. What if all 3 of us have individual jobs? Or does it have to be...
It's easier, frankly, if you as individuals may have side reasons for taking the job, but what's the nature of the job? In that context, the cargo run is the easiest one, because then you're running cargo maybe to supply an outpost on this potential garden world where they're trying to create a colony, and stuff might happen that involves any one of you.
Yeah, I'm down with a cargo run if people are okay with that.
Um, it pays the least. Is it legal or illegal? I.e.,
Uh,
are you smuggling something in there that may be
oh, absolutely not.
And come on, we ain't lawyers, right? So how would we know?
I think that the interesting aside here is that as far as Deacon is concerned, this is just a cargo run of supplies to this would-be colony. Jax, it may turn out there's something in that bolt hole.
Who can know?
Who can
Who
know?
can know?
Who can know?
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
so that's fine. That's fine. And yeah, fine. A cargo run to one of these garden worlds. Galiel's planting is uh, Deacon. Do you have a name for this potential colony? You know
Yeah,
that.
I do. In
Go
fact,
on.
so until they are a garden, they don't actually get names. They are referred to in the stages they are in. So I think this potential garden is either a budding or a flowering.
Let's go with budding because it sounds
Yeah.
slightly more primitive, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Uh,
budding. Yeah, it's a budding planet because you're either a sprout, a seedling, vegetative, budding, flowering, or ripening, which is essentially garden.
Fine. I love it. Okay. So you're on your way to this budding colony. I think we need to roll plus drive. Who's on watch at this point? Because there are four. Our fourth character is sick, so he's going to be confined to his bunk. So do we have a natural risk taker in terms of
Yes, I
yeah,
love drive. Driving's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I think that Nestor likes to drive the ship when at all possible. Now, the fact that, this is relatively low tech and it's not kind of screaming about like an X-Wing, it's much more point, drive, move. So let's have you roll plus drive then. When you are navigating to a named destination in system, roll plus drive, please. And you're rolling plus one.
Drive is the ship's thingy, right?
Ship's drive, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So my own okay, and I'm rolling plus one, and I'm rolling what am I rolling?
2d6 plus one.
2d6. So I'm
Straightforward. Them two blue ones, if
using
you're
the
okay.
blue ones, and let's see what they say. They say, oh wow, okay, they say snake boxcars.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, Nestor, clearly confidence is well placed. So
That's what I said.
on 7 plus, you choose Nestor. Do you arrive at your stated destination, or is there a deep space encounter?
What's your thoughts? People do want a deep space encounter with some deep space stuff.
Just to give you some sense of what the options out there are. Sorry, wrong one. I'll reveal deep space
Why aren't we
encounter.
okay, so
Could be a deep space habitat, an apparently abandoned habitat, a ship, an abandoned ship, a potential collision alert with debris, asteroid, comet shower, micrometeorites, or an ancient artifact. And the ancients is the catch-all for the culture and technology that created the ring gates. These are not, as far as you know, human creations. They have been discovered and made to work.
Oh, we could also arrive at our destination with an enrolled advantage on getting paid.
yeah, that's what
You
I was wondering about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
Well, I
that
mean,
one.
the other, just to be clear, or you choose the nature of the deep space encounter rather than me rolling it.
I think advantage. Let's keep it simple for this one. We ignore the thing there and just arrive because we were told that this was maybe time critical.
Okay, so no risk taking there then.
Absolutely not. We must follow Galiel's plans.
Yeah, I'm taking the risk of not getting paid, and I want to have a
Seriously.
meal. I
Okay,
mean, that's fine. We can take a risk on our way back.
okay.
Yeah, I
So,
imagine Deacon is like looming over your chair as you drive, like a bit, like assuring that you are following the straightest and most accurate of
Who does
navigational
who
paths.
doesn't love a backseat driver?
Oh yeah,
I'll
exactly.
I'll take a shortcut just for giggles.
Oh, that's interesting. 2112. 2112. Same. On arrival, I kind of expect Deacon to be or Gallant, where we don't know if he's ranked or named, but the Deacon or Gallant, you're up in ops in the operations deck when you arrive in orbit around Budding 2. Let's call it Budding 2
Yeah.
to separate from all those other potential buddings.
Yes.
And when you kind of radio down to say, we're here, there's a very friendly response. Now, how do they know that you're part of the regime? That means that they are particularly friendly to you.
Let's see. Are they able to view, is there like any cameras or view into the ship? Like, is this opening up a thing or is,
Do you want? Yeah, you can be audiovisual. I don't yet needn't just be voice
yeah,
comms.
I think it's a video comm and I think they see him and they see how he's dressed. And they know that that denotates his status and, he has certain, markers or perhaps, like that, like a badge that is of Galileo's plantings, specifically of Haven's Landing.
Because whatever his status with the regime is at the moment, we think it's pretty solid. But maybe it is the very presence of that uniform sometimes that causes a problem in other places. But here,
Here
it's
it's
great.
oh yeah.
And so you're invited to take the shuttle down because your shuttle is your cargo space. Um, so who's gonna fly the shuttle down? Who's our best pilot? And this would be your skill, not the ship skill.
What kind of skill are we looking for here?
I think when you face a physical obstacle, challenge, or risk, say what you do to use strength, resilience, or aggression to push yourself or your vehicle through. Because what makes this not a garden world? What is the environmental hazard that Nestor is going to have to pilot through?
I think there's still a lot of like planet-wide type storms. And it might be partially due to I'm imagining there's some form of terraforming that they do to make these become garden worlds. And so it's probably partially a result of that and partially just the nature of the planet. So probably very rough atmospheric conditions and storms to get through.
Yeah, I think probably some very dangerous fission-related terraforming is being attempted here because their technology is not particularly sophisticated. So yeah, fine. So storms, we can see as all three of you, we'll leave Will's character aboard the ship as we see you drop out of the shuttle bay and head down. Um, Nestor, these
This is
storms
fun.
look
This
look
is fun.
look risky. You can see this big swirling storm pattern over Budding 2.
Love it.
And probably with hindsight, we saw a little bit of kind of interference on the comms as a result of
Yeah.
that. So let's have you do what the move says, which is roll plus force.
Force, okay. I roll plus force.
Because this is about.
That's fine. Rolling, submit. Oh, wow, that's terrible. It's a 4.
It's a 4. Oh,
Yep.
Have you put another set of dice on?
No,
Oh, right.
I've used yours.
Oh.
Did you roll the red one as well? Because I'm seeing a 2, a 1, and a 1.
I didn't roll the red one. I rolled the blue
Oh,
one and the other blue
okay.
one. And the
Okay,
red one
okay.
I didn't.
I'm seeing a
Fine.
2-1-1 also, I will
Yeah,
say.
me too, but I didn't touch the red one, I don't think.
I think
So
the red one was a 1 before as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay, fine. So we're looking at 3 plus 1 is 4.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
No, that's not good. You fail, which grants the opposition one of the 7 plus advantages over you and your allies. Yeah, what do you do
Do we have an
When
opportunity for aid at all in this?
there is a basic move called aid. Looking for it.
Aid a crew member.
Aid
It's
a
on
crew
the
member.
basic moves, just the
It is
first
right at the
one.
top. When an ally accepts your offer to help improve their outcome, say what you do. So what do you do, Jax?
Nice.
Yeah, I think like in a lot of ships there are actually two yokes, right? Like you
Okay.
see like and maybe Jax jumps in, he sees that the storm like that Nestor's struggling and like jumps into the co-pilot seat and helps to try to stabilize the ship, as well.
So we see you grab the yoke and try to help
Yeah.
Nestor pull up. Okay, let's if you roll with force as well then.
I'm not very good at that, but so I've
Could you be
never
trying to
used it.
finesse it?
I think, given the circumstances, we're looking at controlling it in these storm force winds. So I think it's force. It is.
Yeah. So I've never used this dice roll. Do I
Okay.
just hit
So
submit or something?
click on the dice you're interested in,
Okay.
the
The
two blue
two blue
ones,
ones.
and they
Yep.
will get a little round
Yep.
red surround usually, and then there's a green button labeled re-roll selected.
All righty. Uh, it's a 5.
Wow.
5 ones. So
Okay. So on a 6 minus, you
I'm
both
a minus
suffer.
1.
You both suffer any cost of
Oh,
failure attached to their original action, and there may
oops.
be an additional cost to pay.
Oops.
Um,
We're doing so great.
fucking shortcuts. You couldn't stay the course.
oh wow! So costs and harm. Let me see what interesting cost might come up
I
if I
think
do.
I think while you're doing that, I look to Nestor and I say, "Great, now we're going to hear all about how our lack of faith in Galiel is the reason for this."
Okay, now
Yeah. Oh
I
no.
I was all set to have a fresh threat appear.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but now I'm going to put a group or community in the crosshairs.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
Streaking past you, you see the trail of two missiles heading towards the planetary surface.
Oh, well, that wasn't us, I think. We
No, it wasn't you. You don't
that's
have any. Deacon.
different missiles. Our missiles are more greenish, and these are
Yeah,
more bluish. So that
exactly,
wasn't
exactly.
us.
They're not coming in on a heading from your ship. They're coming in on a separate heading, but they are coming in from orbit. Deacon,
Mm.
what do you do? Those missiles are clearly targeting Budding 2.
Oh, that's not gonna do.
Do you leap to the weapons console?
Let's see. Yeah, I think he immediately goes to the weapons console to shoot them out.
Okay, because your point defense turrets can take out missiles. When you attack something, roll plus weapon system, which we have established is +2. So, Deacon, do that thing 2d6 +2. It's a 9. Now, unfortunately, Jack and Nestor. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I've misled you. You're not on the ship, you're on the shuttle, which is unarmed. I'm sorry, Deacon. That was me
Oh,
misleading you badly. Um, is there anything you want to do? Like warn the ground?
yeah. Well, I think I want to do, if I can, that I was originally thinking I might work with, is I might, if it's possible, could I take a data tablet and try to reroute those
Oh, oh,
them
that's interesting.
to each
Try
other?
to hack them.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go well for my very not sharp character, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, strangely, that is the kind of thing that our investigator could do if he wasn't yoked to a yoke. So yeah, this is going to come to you. This is take a risk. You are not particularly experienced at this. This is not a routine activity. So I think you are rolling at disadvantaged. Take the risk. When you attempt something challenging or potentially dangerous, what will success look like?
um I think this is I think that this is resolve. Like he will protect this piece of his planet. and
Okay.
his sister.
Is the
Uh,
object to take control or just cause them to explode?
I think the object is to send them back to where they came from.
Oh, gosh. Right. Okay. So let's have you roll all three dice, take the lowest two, and add sincere. Because this is tense. The music has ramped up.
So I got a 7.
I'm seeing a 2, a 3, and a 6. Oh, yeah, plus 2. Yeah. 7. Sorry. So on a 7 plus, you are successful. On 7 to 9, the GM says what cost accompanies your success. Um, I think the cost is that you take control, you attempt to get them to home back in on wherever their control signals are coming from. One crashes into the other, and the shuttle is caught in the explosion. So the ground is safe, but now you are not Nestor. What are you going to do, Nestor?
Yeah, great, thank you. That makes it so much easier to fly around here with the added impetus, right? I'll ride the wave.
I think you're rolling with disadvantage this time because
Oh
this
no.
is this is an explosion and storm force winds. But of course,
Uh,
you've got Jax next to you. What could
yeah.
go wrong?
Uh,
So
we'll see. We'll
um,
see. Can I
I
roll this with finesse
I think you
though?
do because I think this is about speed and reaction times. Yeah,
So I roll all three of these bad boys.
three dice. Take the bottom two and add finesse.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Okay, so that's an
Oh, nice.
11.
11. Wow.
Yep.
On a 7
Yep.
plus, what does your success look like? Get somewhere hard to reach, and these are broad headings to work under. Take something or someone by surprise. Dodge the harm that was imminent.
Yes, I'm dodging the harm that was imminent. I'm just riding, there's an explosion wave coming our way, and I'm just riding it because this explosion wave, the storms were kind of weird and they were putting me off my game actually. But with this explosion, I can ride an explosion. I can ride an explosion. I've done that
Fine,
before.
fine. And I think we see you breaking through the cloud cover um, and putting down at budding 2. Um,
Yeah,
where
well done, Gallant. Not bad.
there are people, with kind of masks and parkas because the storm is gritty and unpleasant. I'm thinking, I will be honest, slightly like Aliens, where you land through the cloud and there's a storm running on the ground. But Deacon, you will see on the screen showing you the outside as the shuttle puts down that they are armed and they appear to be pointing guns at the ship. What do you do, Deacon?
Yeah, I think this is, let's see. I think this is, yeah, I think this is finding an angle, like what is going on here?
Okay. So let's have you roll that then. It's the basic move, finding an angle. In effect, it's setting up a an advantage for later. So let's have you do that. I think that this is your knowledge, understanding, or reason at work here, because I think you're looking out the window in effect and you're trying to infer something from the way they are deploying. Fair enough?
Yeah, I unfortunately think you are correct.
Roll the sharp.
Oh, oh no, dice. That's a 5.
And the next thing you know is that there's the radio crackles to life, and you get a voice from outside that says, "Those of you in the attacking ship, come out with your hands up."
I'm looking to Deacon and say, you want to go out and tell them we're not the attacking ship? This is a
Yes,
shuttle, right?
of
This is
We're
course.
the
not.
shuttle.
No, I want to, yeah, I want an NPC to cooperate here. This is,
So, Deacon, do you go out? Does the ramp at the back of the shuttle come down and you come out with your hands up, or what? What do we
Yeah,
see?
I think he comes out not necessarily with his hands up, but in a gesture that is a variation of maybe some kind of a salute or a sign of Galiel's plantings, looking to sort of, pacify them and get them to understand we are a convoy shuttle. We actually dealt with the missiles. We are in fact saviors, not foes.
Okay. I think those of us in the audience get the perspective from the handful of folk that are training guns on you. And we, of course, will see, their guns getting active and they are now aimed at you. The storm is kind of blowing like, noisily across. So you can't see the safeties coming off those guns. You're going to have to get closer to them if you want to talk to them. And what about the other two of you? Are you staying aboard the shuttle until Deacon can smooth the waters?
Absolutely, because there's still a ship up there that was firing at this planet we are currently on. So, and I mean, they might have more missiles or they might have other stuff. So, let's see if we can figure something out, right? Jax,
Okay.
do you know how to use these sensor thingies?
Yeah, Jax is no hero. He's uh but he is, so he's just assessing, kind of, he's watching and taking the scene in, trying to, figure out, like, what, looking for any opportunities, as he always does.
Fine. And so, Deacon, the wind is blowing, you make the sign, but they are clearly suspicious. Now, maybe it's just me, but an authoritarian regime that sees incoming missiles, um, I think they're a little on edge. So,
Yeah, that makes
how are you gonna how are you gonna smooth pour oil on these troubled
I
waters?
I think it's very simply, I think he's essentially going to proselytize. He is like, I come to you now, my siblings in the ground, about to heat your budding. We come with cargo to reach flowering, to bring you to the status that you need. Do not be afraid of the aid that comes from Haven's Landing. I am Deacon Gallant of Haven's Landing, and he may even insert some kind of secondary familial name of some kind that he got from his adoptive family after he, transitioned to a new household that has some credibility to it.
Oh, I'm seeing the possibility here of kind of Roman-like pronomens and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, so I think you're advancing towards them, preaching in effect.
Essentially, yeah, preaching. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sort
I
of
think
pacify,
um,
encourage.
I don't put words in your mouth, but that sounds like when you seek to create an impression, say what
Oh,
impression and agree with the GM in what GM if that requires you to speak persuasively.
yeah.
Roll plus sincere, because I think that's your hustler move in action.
Oh, yeah, that's the hustler move in action. Yeah, you are correct. Oh my God.
That is Snake Eyes.
That is snake eyes. The dice do giveth, and they do taketh away. On a six, -6, they don't appreciate being charmed or pushed. Pay a price.
I think this is they do well. The six minus on this is they don't appreciate being charmed or pushed. Pay a price.
Yep.
I think the price you have to pay is you need to avoid gunfire.
Yeah. Oof.
So
Uh,
gunfire, Nestor and Jax. Before we determine the consequences of that, is there anything either of you do when Gallant is fired upon? Jax, what are you thinking? Because my suspicion is Nestor's warming up the engines, but that's just me.
Yeah, so I'd like to think that he's watching what's happening out there, and it probably, and maybe this is too much, but I think he probably sees this isn't going this isn't his first rodeo, right? In these sort of scenarios, and doesn't see it, sees it going bad. So I think he is gonna pat Nestor on the shoulder and say, I'd fire those engines back up. And he is going to, from his gear, he has, I'm going to choose like a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to come out onto the, like, I don't know, like, I'm assuming like it's a shuttle that, like, I don't know if it's like a ramp or, I mean, but maybe it's a ramp, right? And like he's going to come down, kind of partially down where he's got a little bit of cover, and he's got the pistol, and he's going to kind of holler, um, everyone, let's just be civil here. Deacon may be back on the ship a little bit here, and is there somebody that he would recognize as the leader in the group?
Okay, so what I'm seeing is you go to one of the stanchions that lowers the ramp, you're taking cover behind that, and then you're going to do some stuff. So while you're doing that, let's deal with Gallant avoiding incoming fire. I think that you're a sharp cookie, I think, in terms of, you know people. And so I think that I will give you an option to take the risk that's incoming fire. Yeah. But I think it is probably about finesse, because this is about how quickly do you react when you see, their stances just twitch a little bit and click.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Oh my, okay. Takes a second to change. 3 to 6. So that is a 9.
9 flat. Well, 7 plus. You are successful. 7 to 9. The GM says, what cost accompanies your success? You find some cover, right? There is some cover on this landing pad. You dive behind it, but it's a little way away from the ramp.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Fair
Yeah.
enough?
Yeah, it puts me a little farther from getting back in.
Exactly. You walked forward. The difficulty, Jax, with you saying anything is the wind is whipping words away. So does this look like you trying to find some stuff out? Because you're interested in who's in charge here.
Yeah. I think he wants to see who looks like they're in charge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you ask a question about someone or something, blah, 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 it's the investigation. So it's roll plus sharp, Jax.
All right. Let's see if I can do this better than before. I have confidence.
Nestor has confidence enough for 3.
7, 8.
8. On a 7 plus, the GM provides relevant information or may ask you to do so. If you're looking for someone who's in charge, you see the guy who's pointing at people and kind of directing. So you know who's in charge. 7 to 9, what you learn comes with a complication such as a potential dangerous location or barrier, a questionable or unsavory act on your part, active opposition of some kind. Your backstory burden. I don't think your backstory burden fits in here. Oh, yes, your backstory burden here. There's another friend out there in trouble. The last time you had a friend in trouble, you didn't do anything, and they ended up being shoved out an airlock. There is some pressure on you here. I might give you advantage to lean into that guilt, or disadvantage if you choose to ignore it. Okay?
Okay.
Nestor. Well, Nestor, I just want to check on Nestor. Are you warming up the engines, Nestor? That was the last thing Jack said to you before he headed to it.
No, I'm not warming up the engine. I mean, these people are under attack and now they're playing stupid games. I'm taking out my shotgun or whatever else. What does my gear say? Where's my gear? Here's my gear. Let me find the largest weapon I can take. Rifle advanced. Yeah, I think I take the advanced rifle. I shoulder it. I go out and I shoot above their heads and yell at them to stand the fuck down.
Can I just make a suggestion that before we go to commercial break, because we're just up to time, we see you going and looking at your weapon racks and selecting the biggest gun you can find.
Yep,
and there's a kind of lots of locking and loading as you grim-faced turn towards the ramp. Shall we say back at 5 past the hour?
Yep.
And then we'll play through?
Okay.
I'll see you in a bit. See what So we pick up after our commercial break with Nestor appearing at the top of the ramp from the shuttle, out into the rain and storm. What do you do, Nestor?
Yeah, I shoot the rifle I have to get their attention, I guess, over their heads. I don't want to shoot these people for now, but to make it clear that this is not going the way they think it's going. And I will shout at them, "You're being attacked, you fucking idiots, and not by us."
Um, this is not when violence erupts, then. This is convince or compel, I think.
Yeah, I think so
Unless
too.
you've got a playbook move that fits.
If I
And I
wish I
think this
had.
is threaten or incite. So I
Yeah,
think it's roll plus force
force. Okay, I like that.
because you're not deceiving them, and I'm not
No.
sensing charm.
Nah, no, no, force is fine. So I'm rolling, reroll select. Oh, there's a 10. Look at that.
Wow, look at that. So on a 7 plus, they'll do what you want as long as it won't put them at direct risk of harm. On 10 plus, they'll even expect some personal risk. So there's, fire over their heads, and, you see them duck down. And I think that probably tells you, Nestor, that this is not necessarily trained military. This is probably, the colony militia that's been called out.
That's why I wasn't shooting at them.
It would be an unfair fight.
It would not be a fight. It would just be a slaughter, and that's not no fun at all.
And everybody goes down. And now, Gallant, the fire that has been peppering your cover, what are you going to do? It stops momentarily.
At this point, I think I am. This is a regime. I think I am going to convince, compel, and honestly threaten here. I think it's sort of like a how dare you raise arms at Deacon Gallant of da, 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 da. We have come to bring aid to support your growth into your next stages, and yet you welcome us with vile attacks. This is not in any way part of Galiel's teachings.
Now, I'll give you the option here. I think you could impress them here because it's impose your presence.
Ah, impose your presence. Yeah, sure.
Because I think you've tried the persuasion. You can try that again, but I'll probably put you at disadvantage.
Yeah, no, we'll impose your presence, yeah.
Yeah. So and this time it's not the hey guys, everything's fine. It's
You done
beware
fu
the avenging hand of Galiel.
you done fucked up. I am. Oh, stop it. No, don't roll yet. You done fucked up. You fired on the wrong people, and this is, of significant importance. How dare?
Let's have you roll plus force.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Close run thing. On a 7, 7 to 9, the GM says what you have to do to solidify or back up the impression you're seeking to create by giving them something they want or need, or doing something in keeping with the impression you're seeking to create. Which way do you want to? How do you want to
I think it's
really
doing
bang this
something.
home?
I think it's doing something, and I think he just walks out and straight towards them as if he is not afraid. Why should he be? He is a superior to them in this autocratic society, and he is simply admonishing these lost lambs.
And I think that is going to work. I think that you give them what they need, which is a sense of their position. Because authoritarian regimes, it's all about who you are, not what you, or what you are, not who you are. So I think that you impress on them that you are here to do the right thing. Jax, you were in cover behind this kind of landing strut from and Nestor is at 2 steps behind you at the top of the ramp. What do you do, Jax, when you see that Deacon Gallant has kind of and their leader has stood up, looking slightly kind of okay. What do you do, Jax?
Yeah. So I think he Jax is like uh, he's kind of that classic holds no grudge, just everything is, and you see him kind of put his gun away in like a shoulder holster. He's got like I like again the noir thing. He's got like a big overcoat, and he kind of flips up his collar, and he turns to Nestor and gives him sort of an appraising nod, and then kind of gestures, you know, should have started with that, and shall we? And then just kind of gestures for Nestor for them to just kind of go down the ramp, kind of like no harm, no foul sort of sort of attitude. So
and I think we might, Nestor. Are you going to go along with that? Because I'm inclined now to cut to somewhere else.
Yeah, I would like to shout at people because they are being attacked, right? They should maybe not, I mean, in all fairness to Deacon Gallant, but somebody shot some missiles at this colony, and maybe somebody should take care of that. Do they have ground to whatever space capacity for
I kind of
weapons?
doubt it, but
Yeah, me
we'll.
too.
I think I'm going to cut to an office where
Nice.
a member of the regime is sat behind a desk while Nestor is berating him on what his priorities ought to be. Does that seem? You want to shout at someone, Nestor?
I mean, I don't need to if they're doing something, I don't need to shout. If they're standing around and looking for praise from the deacon, then yeah, I'm shouting. If we're in an office and they're looking, that's fine. Then they can do their thing.
And Deacon, are you getting firmed up on whether Deacon is a rank?
Um, yeah, I think Deacon is a rank.
Fine. So I'm just trying to think. I guess that I'm going to put Dean ahead of you. So Archibald. Dean Archibald is behind his desk and he's saying, "Yes, sorry, this was a terrible misunderstanding, Deacon. Um, just some of the militia reacted to circumstances. We picked up an incoming attack, and then you came in right behind it. So we absolutely apologize.
I
But
came through it, having moved it so it would not hit your budding planet.
and that is now entirely clear. But as your colleague, kind of looking at Nesta, has suggested that there is a concern here, a larger concern that who would attack a colony such as ours?
Yes, well,
Because I think that we've decided, haven't we, that they are known and respected.
yeah. Well, it's very concerning, although I wonder if you have not been following Galiel's pious teachings, if you immediately shoot first upon landing at individuals.
Deacon, I've explained that this was a misunderstanding. I will ensure that the militia commander concerned, who happened to be on duty, that he is berated appropriately.
And maybe also ensure to see if anything else is coming this way because we're at this colony. I don't want to get blown up without
Yeah,
fighting
Yes.
back at least.
and he gestures all three of you, I think, into what passes for their ops room, where they do, it's kind of landing and takeoff control. And Jax, you'll recognize some of these systems. These are the systems for tracking incoming ships and outgoing ships. But to you, it looks fairly primitive. Apart from supply runs, this is a relatively early stage in the creation of this colony, so they don't get a huge numbers of ships coming in and out. And the Dean gestures to someone who reruns some of the tracking information. And what you see, Jax, is that we see your ship come into orbit. We see the shuttle leave. Then you can see the incoming tracks from a slightly different heading for the missiles. And you can see a ship that kind of comes into orbit, releases the missiles, and then takes off again. out either behind the planet or they disappear off the
Oh,
track. Is there anything you want to do with that information, Jax, or anything you want to do while you're in ops?
Um, yeah, I think if it's not clear to the folks here, I mean, I think it's clear to him that at least for the moment, the imminent danger is is past. Otherwise, we'd still see, I think he looks at all the equipment and is like, how quaint. But I think he's fine here in ops. Like Jax, um, and if he kind of wants to get out of ops, he's like, he's kind of trying to suggest, maybe I should go supervise the unloading of the cargo, just make sure everything's being handled correctly. Um,
I suppose what I was wondering was whether you wanted to lean into your investigator move while you're surrounded by this
hmm,
technology. When you need to get into a system and it's a data
okay.
system or store role plus sharp, I wondered if you wanted to interrogate the system anymore.
Oh, that's a good point. Um, I could do that. Yeah. Why don't why he'll say, I've got some, some background with these systems. I might be able to, get a little bit more out of it. If you allow. And I think he's going to try to get into the system under he's like looking at it. I think he wants to see if there's something happening, if he can figure out why somebody might want to attack them, right?
Right.
Like if there's something in the system that he could get at that might tell him, because I think he also knows he's not a true believer, but he knows that this is fair would be fairly audacious, I think. So yeah, so
So this
we'll
is roll plus
start.
sharp, not perhaps your peak skill.
Yeah, I think I'm yeah, +1. So let's see. Do, 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 do. 9.
9, 7 plus. It sounds like you want to get an answer to a question. You phrased some questions as you were setting this
Right.
up. So that's what I'm thinking about. On 7 to 9, you're detected and there'll be a response or retribution really soon. But you're guests here now, so that's not an issue. You're not hacking this system, you're just interrogating it. Um, I think that you discover some evidence of a radio burst from the colony's operations main dish. Um, that if you didn't know better, you'd say those missiles were homing in on.
Hmm.
Is that something you share with the everyone in ops, or is that something you keep for yourself for now?
No, he's gonna keep it to himself. He's gonna say, basically say, he's like, yeah, this equipment's pretty old. There's not much here I can work with.
Um, and then I think does the does Deacon Gallant or Nestor want to do anything in ops,
Yeah,
or
I think so. We see that it seems as if uh the attacker who had sent the missiles left.
yep.
And so I think Deacon, with slightly narrowed eyes, is looking around at the group and says, perhaps this colony needs to have more faith. Perhaps this was a test, something done through Galiel's will and support to give you an opportunity to show grace once upon mint, and you have not proven to be of power yet. Perhaps this is why you are still budding. And I think as he says this, he takes a couple steps forward towards like the dean, and he says, but it will be all right. I am here now. What negligence has been done can be untaught. And I think he like puts his arms around and like brings this other person in close, like tucks their head under his and makes like a couple of soft noises and like soothingly kind of rubs at their back and is like, for you have erred, but that is to be mortal. And we will move forward from this better in your understanding after you have paid penance.
And I think probably because he is senior to you, I think he might see this as slightly condescending, but he doesn't object. He knows he's on the back foot here. Um, uh, but then, unless Nestor wants to do something here, I'm going to cut to the three of you heading out just to supervise the unloading of the cargo.
Yeah, Nestor would leave as soon as the Deacon starts proselytizing. He's like, okay, I'm going to look at the cargo, right? Because that's, well,
and that leaves Dax and the Deacon to head out just to follow Nestor a few moments later. Jax, do you share what you've discovered from the system?
Yeah. So once they're alone, he'll say, Deacon, I far be it from me to undermine your faith, but I think there's more at play here than just naughty children. I think when I was in the system, I could see somebody or something sent some sort of signal from the colony's main dish, which if I didn't know any better was how the missiles were targeting the colony. So there's something more going on here than just people swaying from the way.
Oh no, I think you've simply proven what I have been saying. There is a heretic here. That is why this planet has not been able to prosper past budding. There is a heretic in a position of power who is trying to destroy the great benevolence that is being built here.
I'm just imagining the look on Jack's face now.
But we only get paid for the cargo, right? Not for rooting out the heretic. Just saying.
So, I mean, my question, I suppose, is as we come towards past into our last 30 minutes, is this a question of take the money and run, or are you interested in digging further? Deacon?
There is no shot in hell Deacon is leaving. I don't know what that means for the rest of the group. I apologize.
It's fine.
But
it's fine.
yeah.
Nestor just will grumble and stay, of course. But...
and if I can reassure Nestor, it does look like the ship has departed orbit.
Yeah, fine. Just we are here for a cargo run. That's what we get paid. Maybe we can renegotiate our pay if we get into the bottom of this.
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
go on.
Maybe the Deacon can leverage this whole thing for us to, make a bit of a profit on this guy, I think.
Jax, we didn't specify. Technically, this is a legal job, but was there anything in the bolt holes?
So, I think the reason Jax wants to supervise and get to the cargo unloading areas, he wants to look for anyone who might be associated with the Horizon. And I think, there are signals or symbols or something that would potentially tell him that.
Yeah.
And so I think, I mean, I don't know if we want to do that first and then decide if there's something in the bolt hole, or if
I'm your servant in this. Because I guess what I'm trying to do before we finish today, I want to set up where we're going. And it seems to me we've got a couple of threads here. We've got Deacon Gallant, rooting out heresy. We've got Jax with a potential link to a smuggling group. maybe that's involved in this. And we've got Nestor, who knows some pretty unpleasant people, one way or another. The kind of people who might take a job to launch a couple of missiles at an undefended colony, for instance.
Yeah, but I don't want to meet these people, and also I want to get paid more if we stay around here.
Well, so I think probably we know what Deacon wants to do. Jax, you're looking round, where the cargo's being unloaded. You're looking for those signs that might indicate a potential contact, or okay.
Yeah, I think he does not have. I'm going to revise. He does not have anything in the bolt hole. I think he is looking to opportunistically to see if they might be able to make some money off of some additional cargo.
Nice.
Fine. So this sounds like investigate. I think, given your scoundrel background and the fact that these are smugglers that you're looking for, I'm going to let you roll with advantage. So it's roll plus sharp, 3 dice, take the top 2, and we'll work off that.
Right. 1, 2, 3. Reroll. 7, 8.
8. So on an 8, 7 plus, the GM provides relevant information. 7 to 9, what you learn comes with a complication. Okay. I think that, yes, so you do find that some of the crates being unloaded are marked with an unobtrusive mark that identifies them as intended for someone on planet associated with the Horizon, with the smugglers. Yeah. You didn't, it was in among the cargo. This was not anything in the bolt holes. This was apparently legal cargo, but it is aimed at somebody from Horizon. The complication is, Nestor, how would you know? Is there any indication that would help you determine if the Snaggs were involved in this at all?
I mean, I think the Snaggs like marking stuff, right? Because they want to be not just robber barons, but barons. So they have a very elaborate seal of the splendiferous system that they will put on stuff. They know that they shouldn't put it maybe right in the front, but somewhere, like where someone who knows what's what will see it and then realize that the Snaggs are involved. And yeah, you shouldn't mess with that because the Snaggs are very dangerous people.
They are. And I think what we see, Jax, is we see you spotting one of these kind of containerized packages. It's not, big containers, small man-portable packages. You see that one is marked as if for Horizon. And Nestor, this is a complication related to backstory, because the person in the uniform of whatever the lowest rank in the regime is, maybe, I don't know, parishioner, don't know. There's a parishioner manhandling that container, and it takes a kind of double take, but you think that they were recruited out of the Creche at about the time you were.
Oh, fuck.
And it was always, there were the 2 best ways out of the Creche was one into the military, one of the mercenary units, but then some people were picked up by the Snaggs.
Yeah, they were not the nicest people.
They were not. Now, I think that's a good place for our episode to end, if I'm honest, because we've got Deacon in search of heresy. We've got Nestor identifying a link to the Snaggs and Jax a link to the Horizon. So I think that's a good basis for all 3 of you to be interested or concerned in these events. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kay, is
Sure.
there anything else that the Deacon wants to do that, in the moment?
I think he is just giving very intentional words of advice, and he's probably lifting some stuff too and helping to move it if someone seems like they are struggling. Um, Making sure things are being properly moved. If there's some things of a kind of container that is fragile, he's making sure it's being handled with care. Like, I think he might even see the person manhandling that one package and like just there's a sharp sort of whistle as he says, "Parishioner, your hands are a vehicle for Galiel's movement. They should not be so crude when carrying her blessings."
Um, and that I think is probably where we will pause for now. Um, there is a bit. I'd like to do a stars and wishes, but there's a bit of end of session stuff to do. So if I take you back to the character sheet, um, um, now Kay clearly didn't wait for me to explain, but read the bit of blurb that said, "Mark when you roll with a stat. When all 5 are marked, erase the mark and gain 1 XP." Um, I think that I know that Nestor used force and finesse.
Mhm.
I don't think he used the other 3 because it was
I-
mostly about wrestling ships
Yeah,
down
yeah,
and
yeah.
intimidating people, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep. That was it. That's fine.
And we know that Jax helped with the force. Jax used sharp to try and interpret some stuff. I think it's certainly force and sharp. I'm not sure I remember anything else. And it's my fault for not.
No, I don't. I thought maybe I did finesse, but now I don't think. I don't think I did.
I'm just thinking
I think it was just sharp and force.
Force to help. You tried to convince. Oh no, you tried to calm pacify. Didn't you try to calm pacify or didn't you sincere them when you got to the bottom of the? You tried to.
No, I never got
No.
a chance.
Okay.
Nestor started shooting, and so Nestor was much more convincing.
Okay. And the other bit of end of session is if you go down to the where have I put this? Miles away. Where have I put this?
It's on roll 59.
Oh, thank you. Oh, there it is. End of session XP. My backstory was relevant for good or ill. I championed an ally to help them take center stage. So, Deacon Gallant, I think your backstory played into this episode significantly. So I think there's a tick for that. I don't know about whether did you think you championed an ally or helped them take center stage?
Probably not. Do I tick to the left or the right, by the way?
Right. The way this was intended was that you use the one on the left as an aid memoir as we're playing, and then we erase that and transfer it across into the 6, into one of the 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's no sense in which they run parallel. You've just got 6 XP to fill, however which way you do it. What about Nestor? My backcourt story was relevant for good or ill. I think that the involvement of the stags at the end, my kind of rushing you with a backstory bit, I think that gives you that one. Did you champion an ally or help them take center stage? Oh, you are muted.
I think I pushed the deacon to talk to these people, right? Like, go ahead.
Yeah, you go out and do that.
This is your
bit.
thing. This is your thing.
I'll take that one. So you can have 2 of those. Jax, you were the only person who actively aided an ally, I think, another crew member. So I think that you get I championed an ally for nothing. And I think that your interest in involving the Horizon buys you a second one. Yeah?
Sounds good.
Fine. So that's the end of session XP. I'd like to do a quick stars and wishes, if that's okay. I've got a kind of wishes that I want to slot in first because I think it's fairly self-evident. There is quite a bit of investment at the start of this, and I think that I wish we could have got started sooner. Is I guess my wish, but there you go. So, Joe, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah. I guess just generally, I think the characters are interesting. Um, um, so yeah, and then I don't have any real wishes. Just here to play to find out, so to speak. So
Fair enough. So your wish is that we should perhaps continue to play and hopefully find out. Okay.
yes.
Sabine, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, fun characters. Interesting situation we got there on this planet. I really liked the Deacon preaching to all these people. My character didn't, but
If
I
in
loved
doubt,
it.
preach the word of
Yeah.
Galiel.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it.
I really like that. I also like I really I also I would contradict you with the start of session thing. I think this was the fastest I've ever seen creating characters and a setting. So yeah, I would have taken more time to be honest, but it's fine. We got a setting that's probably works, and you did a lot of work with that. So yeah.
Well, that's kind of you. Thank you. I think as we were going through that first hour or so, I was thinking, oh gosh, this does take a lot of time, doesn't it? But that's nice of you to reassure me. Hey, any stars, any wishes? Oh, sorry, Sabine, any wishes?
I would like to see eventually over the course of the session how combat works, but
Yeah.
we don't have to try it out next time.
Oh, I think we probably do. Because I think, yeah, I'm curious to see how that works in play. Sorry, Kay, any stars, any wishes?
Oh yeah, of course. Stars, and I'm going to agree with Sabine, Alan. I think making characters and making a world, this actually was quite smooth. Like, yes, it did take time, but considering the breadth we covered, I think it actually went quite quickly and smoothly. And I think a lot of that had to do with your directing, in a sense. You gave us time, but you also didn't let us meander in our thoughts. You had us be direct, which I think is important, especially for a game with this level of crunch. Joe, I love the noir detective. I love the idea of just like the sisters out to get you, uh, and that you kind of have these morose feelings. It's not something I would expect in a game like this. I don't play many space games other than when I somehow find myself in a Star Wars game that Rich runs, even though I've never watched Star Wars. But I was intrigued by this idea of clusters and planet hopping. Uh, so I thought that was like a really fun archetype to put into this system. So I really enjoyed that. And Speed, I love Nestor. I fucking love a shoot first, ask questions later kind of character. That just shoves and push and is brutal. And there's something really fun about the juxtaposition of I feel like both Gallant and Nestor are blunt people, but they are blunt in such different ways. Uh, they are both, yeah. So I find that to be just very interesting. Uh, in terms of wishes, I'd love to put some unfortunate homework onto you, Alan, as I'm not here next session for a fun reason why Gallant is not present at whatever happens next.
Yeah.
Uh, so a fun reason for why he's not. And I guess maybe it's hard because it's only 4 sessions, so I don't want to like put too much out there. So I think, yeah, just a fun reason for why Deacon Gallant is busy and not able to assist with whatever shenanigan happens next week.
That's fine. I'll probably come up with something that is simply that Gallant disappears, which will add to the mystery, perhaps. And then I might well, in session 3, have you finish a love letter of what actually happened.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Whether those bits of jigsaw puzzle will all fit together neatly, time will tell. But certainly we'll welcome you back in session 3, somehow, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Though I thought stars to everyone. It's nice that you found the kind of setting creation sufficiently interesting for the time. That's great. And yeah, these are an interesting set of characters. I look forward to seeing how Will, when he recovers from his sick bed on board the ship, fits into this motley band. Talk about a found family thrown together. Gee whiz. But I'm just going to stop the recording there.